All right, in this workout, we are going to work on your force and frequency. So how hard you're pulling on the water and how frequently you're applying that force. And I'm going to do a demo today, which may shock you, may make you look at swimming a little bit differently. Definitely, you're going to look at baths and probably me a little bit differently. But before we get into that, it had to be like 10, 15 years ago. I'm standing on deck watching my swimmers with another swim coach, the head coach of the junior club at the time. And we're watching my group of adults and his group of kids. And he goes, "You know what the problem with adults are, Corey?" And I go, "No, what?" He goes, "They try too hard." And I had to think for a second. And I'm like, "You know what? They do try too hard." And he goes, "Yeah, if they just stopped and messed around like kids a little bit, maybe they'd discover something different about their swimming." And it's so true, where usually adults, and I'll say especially triathletes, they think that you can get faster. You probably think this too, and I thought this when I first got started. I can get faster just by trying harder, pulling harder, applying more force, getting in better shape. And unfortunately in swimming, that's a little counterproductive, or it's not the same, or it doesn't translate the same as it does in biking and running, where you're applying force to a solid and you're getting a lot much more return. You're also trying to move your body through air when we're cycling and running, as opposed to water, which is substantially less dense, obviously, than water is. So there's a number of issues with swimming, particularly applying force to the same fluid you're trying to move your body through. And there is a breaking point, or I'm going to say what we're going to focus on today is trying to find the Goldilocks zone of force and frequency. And we've talked about this in previous videos where, I mean, in the perfect world, and you may have seen this in other videos, or a coach may have told you this before, in the perfect world, you are trying to anchor your arm and move your body past it, or grab a bar and move your body past it, as opposed to this idea of just moving our arms down. Because really, when it comes down to it, if we want to move our body through space faster, our body must move through space faster. So it doesn't necessarily mean, or it doesn't necessarily rely on a stronger pull. It requires a more efficient pull, and then you can start bringing in other elements to build the speed on top of that. So you can apply too much force where you're just ripping through the water and actually it doesn't result in any forward movement. So I use the analogy of the bathtub. I've never gone as far as shot myself in the bathtub, but I thought, you know what, shock therapy, if this gets you to remember force application, then it's totally worth it. So when you turn the water on in the bathtub, you want to get the water swirling, mix it up, make the bath hotter or colder. You are going to start with swirling the water. Now, the difference between swimming and me sitting in the bathtub is basically in the swimming pool, I'm the thing I'm trying to move or get into motion where the water stays in a stationary state. And in the bathtub, it's the opposite, where I'm trying to get the water moving and I'm staying in a stationary state. Same concept, different thing that's moving. So I can apply a huge amount of force and basically make a bunch of splashes and not result in a lot of movement in the water. And even the deceleration between the time of force application is so substantial that the water never really gets moving. Where as opposed to, I can increase the frequency, decrease the force, get that water spinning, and once it's spinning at a particular velocity, it takes very little effort to keep that water moving. And, there are Newton laws, obviously. A body that is in motion wants to stay in motion, or requires, less force to accelerate a body up to a particular speed than it does to maintain a velocity. So, those concepts can easily be applied to swimming as well. If we can get your body moving through the water at a particular velocity that, again, we're going to try to play with this Goldilocks idea today, where you are perfectly balanced in terms of force and frequency, and you can just paddle like you're sitting in the bathtub spinning the water, except you're just sitting there paddling, spinning your arms, moving your body nice smoothly through the water, then that would be ideally what we're looking to achieve. When you look over and see those little 10, 11, 12-year-olds just ripping by you, it's not because they're any stronger. And sometimes it's not even because their technique is even better. They just create very little drag, and they can move those arms and be just super efficient in applying just enough force that, if their parents made them come, they're going to get through it. When we're working through the workout, what I want you to really pay attention to is this equilibrium of force and frequency. And again, in search of this Goldilocks zone. So before we get into the force and frequency work today, we're actually going to spend a little bit of time doing some swimming. So with a little bit of volume in the warm-up. We're going to start off with 10 100s or potentially less, or some 50s, depending again what level you're at. But we're going to cycle through choice swim, so mix up the strokes however you like. You can do some backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly if you want to throw those in. Same with choice kick, however you like. For the kick, front, back, breaststroke kick you could throw in as well. A little bit of pull. I'm going to recommend in the warm-ups, don't use paddles. Let's get the shoulders a little bit warm before we start stressing them out a bit. Choice drill, you should have enough in the drill toolbox that you can take your pick. When in doubt, catch-up's great. We're doing lots of one-arm stuff. Even today we'll be doing some one-arm stuff. Closed fist, underwater recovery. You can, again, play with all of those drills or any new ones that you want to throw in there. Then we're on to the main set, where again, we are going to then think about force and frequency. So we're going to start off with thinking about force application, or specifically the acceleration from the catch to the finish. So you're just going to be doing some one-arm drill. The arm you're not using, leave up, and just focus as you get into the catch. This is going to be nice and light and slower, and you're going to kind of to use George's term, whoosh through the stroke. So slight acceleration from the start to the finish, not too hard or you're gonna slip through the water, and again, not too light where you're not doing anything at all. So after those drills, we are gonna move into a swim, again, anywhere from 100 to a 200, and you're just gonna focus on that gradual arm acceleration while you're swimming your regular stroke. Then we are going back to drill. Basically, we're going to be doing this drill swim back and forth as we go all day today. And the next one-arm drill is going to be the exact same, except you're going to use paddles to increase that surface area to hopefully feel that grab of the water and that gradual acceleration even more. So same drill, just throwing paddles on, back to the swim, same focus. Then we're going to play with your, I'll say frequency a little bit, your stroke rate, where we're going to do a set of 50s where you're going to gradually increase the stroke rate. And what I want you to pay attention to is what force application is required as you're trying to bring the arm speed up quicker and quicker. Ideally, the quicker the arm speed, the less force required. No difference than cycling. If you want to produce a set amount of power, you can do it with a lot of force in a slow RPM, or you can do it with less force and a faster RPM. So power really is, it's force times acceleration. So that's all we're playing with, is those two variables with the arm, force and acceleration. So we'll play with it, making it the arm speed a little bit quicker, having you make those adjustments, trying to again find that Goldilocks zone, swim that out, and then we're actually going to work it the other way, where you're going to start with a quicker arm speed and then slowly decrease it. And as you feel the decelerations happening because you're pausing a little bit longer, again, just play with the sensation of what do you then need to change in terms of your force application. Ideally, you're going to be accelerating a little bit more than you would be accelerating when you're at a higher stroke rate. So we're going to play with that today, and let's see if we can get you swimming with a little quicker stroke rate, a little less force application, and hopefully a lot more efficient in terms of just maintaining velocity and going faster, working easier. We'll see you in the next workout.